something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
All right, guys, welcome to the Crazy Pills podcast. Today what I want to talk about is like the paradox of when you want or need something, actually that sets you up to not get it, right? So if you are unhappy with the way your body looks, and then, and I've seen this over and over, I own a gym, right? I've owned the gym for 7 years now. I've been in fitness for 20 plus years. When people change their diet, right? They do RP strength right now, right? They count they're counting macros, right? They're doing paleo, they're limiting their calories, they're doing more cardio, whatever. They could get some results in a few weeks, a few months. I've even seen it up to like 6 months. And very rarely does the results last longer than that. Like a year later, they just go back to where they were at before, or even worse, right? So it's like a bigger cycle where they get some results temporarily, and then it goes back, right? And it's because even though they took some actions that produced results, the underlying energy or who they were being underneath didn't change, right? I gave an example a few weeks ago when I was talking about this in the financial context. Homeless person wins a lottery, right? On average, it's a staggeringly high amount of them declare bankruptcy within like 3 or 5 years, right? And for them to spend that much money, it's like they had to spend like $6,000 a day or something, right? Because just because you gave a homeless person the money, a person actually wasn't able to retain it, definitely not grow it, because fundamentally they weren't a wealthy person to begin with. Okay, so one of the best indicators for you to know that in whatever area of life that you have your attention on, if the energy is flowing in that area of life, it's effortless, right? You don't have to effort. If it's not flowing, there's going to be a lot of effort. Efforting is different than working hard, right? Like pushing yourself and like and doing stuff, right? Efforting is like well, can I do it? Can I not? It just seems like you take 2 steps forward, something sets you back. It just doesn't actually flow the way it's supposed to. I know in society, I bought into it. You know, some of our favorite YouTube and Instagram influencers, they always talk about the grind, the grind, the grind. And then we think that's natural. We think efforting is natural. Whereas in my experience and observing with the people that are successful in various aspects of life, when the energy is there, it just flows, right? So for example, I don't put really much effort into what I put into my body. I generally eat healthy. I eat healthier than almost most people. I don't eat healthy all the time, right? And especially for now at this point, what I put in my body, it's just something where I just kind of go off of whatever I'm feeling, right? And I looked it up. I remember, like, I think a year or 2 ago, I'm like, oh, well, is there something where you just kind of follow your intuition and you just eat? And then, funny enough, someone actually coined the phrase intuitive eating, right? So for me, the food that I put in my body, and then my body image and how I look and everything, that's effortless. I don't give it much thought. Some days I feel like I look better, some days I feel like I look worse, but when I feel like I look worse, doesn't really bother me much. When I think I'll look better, pretty cool, pretty nice, doesn't bother me much. Public speaking used to be one of my biggest fears ever growing up, right? So I would just get all shaky, days where there's like a presentation I knew I had to get in front of people, I would start getting nervous. And then especially when I know, like, okay, there's like 3 more people in front of me, like Amanda, Billy, and Jan are in front of me, and I'm the 4th one. I could just feel nervousness. And when I'm in front of people, I zone out. It's really hard for me to actually process what's going on in the moment when I'm talking to people. When I'm talking in front of people, and I really have no idea what I'm saying, right? And so what I thought, if you asked me at the time, okay, well, I just need more confidence, right? Whereas, funny enough, right now I do public speaking almost every day because of the coaching, podcast. I don't actually, confidence isn't even something that I consider, right? What I'm actually focusing on is, okay, there's a stream of communication that I'm trying to get across. How do I communicate it in the best way possible? I'm not the best public speaker. You know, if you're doing Toastmasters, you'll probably find all these things wrong with what I'm communicating. And at the same time though, talking in front of people to try to communicate something is effortless for me, right? So that actually shifted. We go into, for you, if you're listening to this, could it be an area of relationship where you feel like you have to effort to actually feel love and happiness, or you have to effort to attract someone or to hold on to someone that you're meant to be in a relationship with? Or is it money, like actually making money, keeping money, being able to generate more, having to not worry about it, right? Like if you're being a wealthy person, right, sometimes a bank account could go down, and there's just like a knowing and an effortless knowing that it'll just work out and you'll be able to do whatever it takes to work out, okay? And part of the journey of growing in life is to actually be able to fully be with and acknowledge what's actually there right now, so that you're not actually stuck in that pattern, and then things can open up so you can move to a new pattern, right? So if your relationship with money is that you don't deserve it, or it's only for people that are not good, or it's somehow tied into some kind of pattern with, like, say, your dad, which actually I noticed that was the case for me. Trying to work harder, trying to figure out marketing campaigns, studying like different advertising techniques, or like how to do sales, or even having stories about how, well, I could make a lot of money, but when it comes to owning a gym, there's just a cap on how much money you can make, right? Like all that stuff is actually just not being with right now. I have a struggle energetically with money. I can't even quite put words on it, but I know what it feels like. It feels like it's stuck. It feels like it's hopeless. It feels like I just want to almost like zone out, or I feel anxiety when I think about it, right? Like that is actually way closer to my relationship with money before than all the other stories and narratives that I gave it, right? Because those were just an explanation, justification, or for the most part a narrative on why energetically money wasn't flowing for me, okay? You could use this in how you relate to your body. You could use this in how you relate to relationships. You could use this in even your mood, like your outlook in life, right? It's like right now, I feel like everything's hopeless. And that's authentic and real, right? The quicker you can actually get to that, all of a sudden there's room to do something else, right? Because until you can acknowledge that, that's what's actually holding you in place. And no amount of whatever you think you could get is gonna actually help you, right? Like if a homeless person is fundamentally, energetically not in a place to be wealthy, we could throw however much money we want at that person, give them money, help them out, not gonna actually end up being able to hold on to it, and they're gonna lose all of it anyways, okay? And one of the key signs is whether it's effortless or not. You know there's areas in your life where it's effortless, whether it's helping out a friend, whether it's, for some of you, being consistent with your exercise routine, what you put in your body, whether it's some kind of art, right? We all have areas where the energy is just flowing, and we all have areas where it's not flowing. And just to start to get a sense, when the area that's flowing, what is my experience of it energetically? Like how much spaciousness is available? Is my focus more like out there, like bigger, like a bigger picture? Is it more focused, like, does it feel like it's closer to me and more at the core of my being, right? There's actually an experience you have with stuff that works well, And with the stuff that's not working well, does it feel like it's just stuck? Does it feel like it's actually, am I only just really focused on myself and then viewing it from really, really deep inside? Or does it feel like it's too far out and that I can't get a grasp of it, right? We actually have, in a way, we're experiencing these things that is underneath the circumstance that we don't notice, okay? And what's really exciting is, I think up to this point, for the most part, the way for us to shift a lot of these things, that when we have a stuck pattern, is to actually hit rock bottom, right? Where something bad happens. I can't tell you how many people I've met, whether they were raped, had a parent die, or someone close to them die, or just like setback, like shame, they got canceled, right? Like they actually hit their version of rock bottom, or just experience something traumatic in a way where it just shook them loose and then their outlook changed, right? And we don't actually have to go through that. You can consciously observe what's there right now and just fully be with it, okay? So what if, and you could take what I'm saying and translate it onto like your version of whatever it is you're dealing with, but what if right now it feels like no matter what you try, you're just not happy with your body and the way it looks, okay? Now rather than going to drink, trying to rationalize it away, why was that incessant thinking, talking to your friends so your friends could compliment you, or just ignore it, right? What if we just, we're just with that feeling for a bit, where it just seems like it's not really working, or I'll take 2 steps forward, and then it's like 3 steps back, and then 4 steps forward, 2 steps back, and it just feels like a lot of struggle. And just be with it. What if it actually, that's just all there ever is? And just be with it without having to move away or running away from it. And oftentimes, just that is enough to actually free you from that pattern, right? And you're not doing it as a technique to get somewhere else. You're doing it because that's actually what's there, and just fully being with it. And as you're fully being with it, you can even notice the judgment. Wow, I actually have a judgment on feeling this way is bad. Okay. Notice and accept that judgment of it. And then also notice how you feel about it. So you can actually notice both at once, right? This is something to try out. This is very different than some of the past videos. And this is actually what will help open you up. You know, it could be like, I love people and I feel anxiety, right? Like I'm simultaneously scared of people, and I just want to run away, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable, and I feel lonely and that nobody gets me. You can just be with that without needing to place a judgment on it or make it better. When you can fully be aware, acknowledge, and then accept what's really there right now, and just be with it, all of a sudden it's no longer so stuck. That reality that you perceive isn't just stuck. It's just one of many possible realities, right? So one of my mentors, Donnie Epstein, his favorite quotes he always says is that we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are, right? And all of a sudden there's a you that can observe how you're participating in that area of life energetically. And it could be one of the most profound and spiritual experiences you ever had, okay? So thanks for watching or listening. Hope this made a huge impact, and I'll talk to you guys next time.